All right, cool. If you're having issues at any time, just wave us down and we'll listen. All right, so Sarap, introduce us. Joe, hi.
Okay. I want to welcome everybody to General Assembly. I am Joanne Boston. I'm the events producer here, and I wanted to bring a program to General Assembly that's never been done before. And let me just tell you that this is probably the most brown this space has ever been. Please come for yourselves to read the space for occupying this space. But to tell you about General Assembly, so General Assembly is a school that gives people in-demand skills. So we do Python, coding, but also typography, design, product design. So it is a really great space to come and refine your skills, improve your skills, or if you're in a transition, this is a great place to do too. I just feel really good right now. Yes. We have a wonderful group of women here who have been such an instrumental part of our community. And I believe that because of them, we are a bit stronger. We are a little more confident. We are so proud to be Pinay. And thank you to all our brothers in the audience for being allies.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, feel free to contact me about the programming that we have here. I'm more of the community-facing side, so I do a lot of workshops on leadership, finance, how to gain confidence, how to build your resume, things like that. So I do free programming, so it's accessible for everybody. We're in a great space. So I want to make sure that the programs here reach every demographic, every economic status. So everything's for everybody here. If you have any questions about our classes or courses, we have Lloyd in the back. She's right there. She is the only other Pinay in this business. Right. The only two Pinays here. So when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, there's another Pinay here. Thank you, God. Thank the Lord. So back there.
So when I moved here, I was so scared, and then I met Joe.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little emotional because we just did shots in the back. I wanted to dedicate this not only to you, our Pinays here, but to those on my shirt, to Carlos, to Larry, to Fred, to Dawn. Without them, where would we be, right? So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Gina, who's been such a great voice in our movie. And thank you, and have a great time tonight.
Yeah. I'm so excited. This is dope. It's funny because for these panels too, there's always hella RPGs. Oh, there's 500 people coming, and then half or 9 and a half, and 8 show up. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone showed up, of course, because we're the Ibarra here. Just kidding, we're cool too. All right, so this panel, I'm really excited about it. I'm really glad that Joe invited us to be here and invited me to curate the panel and partner with Entrepreneurs. So before we start with the panelists, I want to just open up with a little bit of backstory, why we do this. So it looks like everyone has a seat. Okay, great. First off, just how's everyone feeling today? Yes, this is interactive, so talk. If we ask you a question, feel free to answer aloud. Yeah, for sure. This is energy today, so let's do that. Keep it going. So Pinayism in tech. I mean, everyone is debatable. What is tech? Okay, well first we're going to start with what is Pinayism. So Pinayism is a concept that was developed in 1995 by Dr. Allyson Tintiangco-Cubales, who is a professor at SF State. She's also the founder of PEP, which is Pinay Educational Partnerships, which has programs in schools all over the Bay Area, and they're just dope. And she's also just a community leader and a mama to so many, a real mama and community mama, because those are both equally important. A Pinay, everyone in this room looks like they know, and it's something I take for granted. as a Pinay, a lot of people don't know what that means. They ask me, like, what is that? Well, a Pinay obviously is a woman of Filipino descent. What a lot of people don't know is Pinay actually has, the word Pinay has its roots in the Filipino-American experience. So some of the first ways that that word was used was to describe a Filipino woman in America. So that's a source of pride that we should really like hold. This is like a word that really describes our unique experience as Filipino-American women. I want to call that out. But pulling directly, she published a paper, an article in 1995 called Pinayism, where Allyson literally went around the mall. I forgot which mall it was. Was it Sarap? It was the East Bay Mall. She went around. Which one? New Park Mall. What's up? Doing research about the Pinay experience, and so she like dressed like a young Pinay. Went around, I remember very specifically, contempo casual, wet seal, and attempted to approach young Pinays and ask them about their experience. And what she encountered in that experience was like something so different than what she expected. Was a lot of women, or like I remember like teenagers, like straight dogging her, like looking her up and down at her like outfit that she chose very specifically for the mall, and like who are you? I don't want to talk to you, and just like getting turned away. And that really inspired this idea of like Pinayism as a movement and a sisterhood. This foundational need that we need to approach each other on this level of sisterhood before anything else. So it's really a foundation. Like quoting from her papers, Pinayism is a revolutionary action. Pinayism is a self-affirming condition or conduct. Pinayism is a self-determining system or belief. And it's, there's a lot of roots in feminism, but it is very like uniquely rooted in our experience as Pinays. And it's not about like going against Pinays, it's just really about like empowering and bringing us together as women. And the goals are very similar. It's just like, developing our capacity as Pinays, connecting us, mentoring, and creating this community. So what is Entrepreneur Summit? So Entrepreneur Summit is rooted in this idea of Pinayism. An entrepreneur is a Pinay entrepreneur. And this word, I didn't come up with this word, first of all. This word has been around for many, many years, and there are a lot of amazing women doing work in the entrepreneur space. Entrepreneur Summit, I founded it last October was the first annual. I did it because when I started my business 3 years ago, I only knew 2 Filipina entrepreneurs that I could look up to. And I had massive imposter syndrome and didn't think I had the ability to start my own business. And then through doing Undiscovered SF, shout out if anyone's been to the night market, we really fucking grew that community. And it wasn't because of us, it was just more like people were coming out and claiming Filipino. And now we have this community. So we created the summit to bring all these entrepreneurs together. Kristen was there, Ellen was there, so many people in this room were there, and we built this community. And so our whole thing with Entrepreneurs, this is a photo from our summit last year, is our mission is to build sisterhood through the hustle. So we're all hustling in so many different ways, and we need each other. So similar to Pinayism, we need that as our foundation because we can't help each other in business or in life unless we can be there for each other as sisters first, right? So that's like the main idea. And so we want to bring this concept to tech because we are in Silicon Valley, we're in the Bay Area, and there's a lot of us and we're all trying to break through. And so I love the idea of bringing that idea, like how can we build a sisterhood and break through in tech. So all the people on this panel have or work in tech in some capacity. So that is the reason why we're here. And thank you guys all so much for coming and supporting that. So we'll go back to our, switch places.
I'm Ruby.
The OCD in me is like, switch chairs. Choice. Oh my God. I'm okay. I'm not gonna look up there. All right, so we're gonna start off with intros. So first, I'd love everyone to just introduce yourself, and we're gonna start with we're gonna get to these things that we're holding in a second. But first, we'll start off with just your name, and tech companies that you have worked for, and like your current affiliations. Ruby, Kristen.
Hi, I'm Ruby,
I wish. I'm Kristen. I started my tech journey working at Google, and then while at Google, worked in a few different departments there, left after working at Google Ventures in DC, and now I'm at Stripe, leading up our design operations function.
Yes. What about your hustle?
Oh, my hustle. We have a food truck called the Sarap Shop.
Yeah.
All right. Ron Ruby.
Hi everyone, my name is Kristen. My name is Ruby. So in tech, I work at a biotech company called Thermo Fisher Scientific. My full-time job my role is a scientist, and what I do is I work at the quality control department, and I process DNA and microRNA for PCR. And my side hustle is rap.
I'm gonna see if this works.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Magic time.
Aloha, hapude, and kamusta to everybody in the room. My name is Evelyn Obamos, and I just want to acknowledge that the points that Gina raised earlier are super important to acknowledge, where this conversation did not start here, nor should it end here. And while we have such a finite amount of time together, that doesn't mean that we can't stay connected. And so we have our socials on the screen, and we also have you folks that know about this event to talk to your friends beyond this conversation, because I think something's building and we're all part of this movement and momentum. So just want to set that stage.
Yeah.
Cool. So Evelyn Obamos, and I am at my very first tech company, straight out of grad school at Pinterest. And I want to give a shout out. We're repping deep pretty hard back there, and I'm really proud because when I first started at Pinterest, I can count on my fingers how many Filipinos were at Pinterest, and now we're north of 30, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been there for 4.5 years, so it's been pretty powerful to see that movement and that growth. Shout out to our diversity team too.
Awesome, and then of course, Gina Rosales. My tech journey started also at Google. I started as a contractor in recruiting, and then I converted and then transferred to Google X. So I spent 7 years working at Google/Google X in like various capacities, like recruiting and my main team. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, worked at Google for 7 years, Google X, and then just quit last year to go full time with my hustle, which is now my full time business, which is Make It Marco, an events company. And then the side hustle is that we founded Pinay Summit. So yeah. All right, so I gave all of our panelists some homework, and I asked them to think about an artifact that they could bring that represents their tech journey. And so I've asked them all to bring an artifact, and I'd love to just start the conversation there. Maybe we'll start on the other side.
Maybe I will speak from here. Is this okay?
Yeah.
And I like, when the voice sounds really cool in the mic. I like my stewardess voice. Oh, you want me to put it up?
Hold it
Hold
up.
it up. All right. So this is my cap from my master's graduation. I finished at the University of San Francisco with my master's in education and technology. And at the time I was finishing in trying to implement critical media literacy in the classroom, because as somebody who grew up in the hood, I felt like the computer and the internet was my access to information. And having parents that did not understand the college application process or the scholarship application process, I had to figure out a lot of that out on my own, and the internet was my gateway to learning a lot of that. Thankfully, through the internet, I also discovered the Bill Gates Scholarship. And the Bill Gates Scholarship, if you don't know, is one of the scholarships that award students a full ride scholarship to your undergrad, master's, doctorates. And I was like, fuck it, I'll get my master's too.
Yes.
And so I did. And I did it for my mom and my sister, who are two very important Pinays and influential Pinays in my life. My mom was a single parent when I was in high school, and that meant a lot in crafting who I was as a woman and how I saw my independence. And then each of the stars represent the places I grew up. So I also represent Guam, and Hawaii. And I've lived in San Francisco for about 11 years, so I'm calling this home too.
So up until this morning, I didn't realize that we had to bring an artifact. Until Gina was like sending out a text message, don't forget to bring your artifacts, guys. I'm like, what artifact? So what I brought, this is a $20 bill. The reason why I chose this ultimately is my artifact, other than the fact that I learned about it late, but for me, I went to school at UC Davis, and there's some people that I know that went to school there as well. And I majored in biochemistry and molecular biology. Similar to Evelyn's story, I grew up with an immigrant mom who raised me and my sister on her own. And so at a very young age, like, we really knew to value education. For us, like, getting a job and making sure that we found financial security was something that was heavily discussed by my mom, and something that she wanted to plant in our minds. And now that I think back and reflect on that, I can only see that especially when we think about the immigrant story, trying to build a home and finding success in another land. I can only understand now why my mom was so hard on us trying to finish school. So I went to school at UC Davis for biochem, and after graduation, I thought, okay, I got my degree. I'm going to be able to get a job right away. Little did I know that's not how it goes, as many of you have learned. I think 8 months after graduation, I was applying to so many different biotech companies, and none of them would accept me. And I think I got to a point where I got pretty depressed and in a state where I wasn't even feeling inspired to be creative, where I couldn't even do music, even though I had all this free time in the world. So at that point, I also had about close to $20 left in my bank account. So I was like, oh shit, like, what am I gonna do? I was eating Taco Bell, I was eating dollar menu just to get by every single day, and I just saw my account dwindling each week. And luckily, I came across an ad on Craigslist, out of all places, and they got back to me and they said, we want to offer you this position at a company called Life Technologies as a lab tech. And I remember I was like, yes, I was so happy, and I accepted their offer. And then I remember when it was the first day to go to my job, I realized I don't even have enough money to pay the toll because it was in Benicia. So I had to call my mom. I was like, can you please lend me at least $20? So $20 at the time, toll was still $5 across the Benicia Bridge, and it was a Monday to Thursday job, so hence the 20 representation. So that helped me get through first week of work. And I remember when I first got my paycheck, I'm like, here, Mom, you can take my whole paycheck, but thank you for supporting me and getting me to this point. And now when I think about that $20 bill, I'm also reminded about the support system and the people that have invested in me to get to where I'm at today. And I think about it through my biotech role, and as well as music too. The people that have supported me and believed in me and basically carried me on their backs, and that's what I think of when I see the $20 bill. And I think initially too, when I graduated from UC Davis, I thought I want to enter a biotech company. I want to make X amount of money. I want to be super rich. I want to get a house. And initially, when I thought about money, I thought about it in a way where it was just me. I want to be able to build X amount of income. And now when I see this piece of paper, I think I'm so fortunate to be in a position now where I do have a career in biotech, and my music is thriving as well. Where I'm in a position where I see money and I see it in a way where I want to be able to give it back to the community. And I can touch upon it later, but we're also, me and Allyson, who she mentioned earlier, are still continuing our Pinay's Rising Scholarship. So now when I think about money, I think about how can we funnel that back into the community. So that's why I chose it myself.
Yeah.
You go!
Okay, so I have a funny thing with this is my artifact. It's called a time timer. Not only is it utilitarian, but it's kind of just like a philosophy that I've tried to adopt in terms of like my journey specifically in tech. I remember when I first took the job at Google, like I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I graduated during the recession, couldn't get a job, so we were doing funks for a while. Like my dad was like, "What are you doing? Are you just dancing? You like, what kind of dancing are you doing for money?" I was like, "From where?" Like, it was money, and there was no money. It was more fun. But when I got the job at Google, I was really just like lost at the time and trying to fit in different spaces. And especially in tech, when you're trying to figure out like what you want to do and like you're not quite sure, you find yourself in different moments and like places where you're like, is this me? Like, is this where I should be spending my time? And there's been so many moments where you kind of end up in like your own purgatory because you're like just stuck with indecision. So for time, like I was really practicing this concept of like time boxing your decisions and like not letting yourself stay too stuck for too long as like a catalyst to like keep moving you forward. And then also to like know what your time's worth. I think like in general we can keep grinding and try to get more and more money, but like at the end of the day, this is like the only finite resource we're all after. So I try to like, again, like time box my decisions, time box my experiences, know what's worth my time and worth the experience and what isn't, and giving myself permission. And like, again, this is such a handy tool because honestly, you can say like, this is only worth 10 minutes of my time. And once you hit, you've like made an agreement with yourself that like you're gonna be on. So you stop like negotiating with yourself and judging yourself. Which really is like kind of what tech does to you if you're like not in control of your shit. Yeah. So that's my artifact. You really have it.
Is there a snooze button? Is there a snooze button?
Alright, so, and then lastly, so this is my artifact. It's a mini self-driving car. I actually worked on this team. So I started in recruiting at Google, and like honestly, it was the easiest job. I like got in, I like scheduled interviews. I worked so fast, like I did everything so fast. And then in between, during lunch breaks and stuff, I was running a nonprofit. So I used to dance with a group called Phenometry, and it was a nonprofit. And actually, Kristen ran it after me too. So, but then I got this job at Google X, and I was like the first administrative business partner on this team. So it was like still startup phase, really young, only a couple hundred people on the team, and I was like this little Filipino girl running shit. I also was the EA to Megan Smith. If anyone knows who Megan Smith is, after I worked with her, she went on to be the CTO of the White House with Barack Obama. So I helped her make that transition to the White House. That was crazy. But like the self-driving car like represents my tech experience because this is like this giant industry. And again, same thing. I was trying to figure out where do I fit? And I just come from working in the nonprofit industry. So I was like, y'all are hella spoiled here. This is crazy. This is not even real. And I tried to stay grounded with like what I did. I was like hosting all these like youth groups to come and eat free lunch, like trying to get as much money I could to like nonprofits. But in the end, it was like, it came down to like, hey, little car, small but mighty. And like this group, like they were in this industry where big players were like, oh, whatever, you guys aren't self-driving cars, whatever, that's not a thing. But actually, I like came into this industry and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna make this my own. I'm gonna pave my own way and I'm gonna do things my way. And let's see how that goes. I kind of made it an experiment. And I was just like, let's see how far they could take me and they won't fire me or maybe they'll give me more work. Actually, they just kept giving me more work or like giving me new jobs. So I was like, that's great. But in the end too, it was like, there's a bigger purpose and like just give your own way. So, all right, cool. So yay, that's fun.
It's fun.
All right, well, so going into some panel questions. So the women of color in tech, panel, I want to just like, let's get around that big elephant in the room and just talk about like, what are some struggles you have had, anyone on this panel, of being a woman of color in tech? This is open for anyone who wants to answer. And obviously, like, what was a struggle, or how was a challenge, and how did you navigate or are navigating it currently?
I can kick off. So what I think this question really drives home is the intersectionality of our identity, right? So you're in the tech industry, but you also have this dimension of your gender. And then being Pinay, you have that dimension of your family relations. I want to drive this even further, and what does it mean to be a second generation immigrant in America trying to pursue this industry? What does it mean to be from a low socioeconomic status to now be among more affluent communities in tech? And those are the dimensions that I can never ignore. And as much as I want to pretend that they don't impact my everyday experience, they do. And I love that I have braces as an adult right now. And I just want to acknowledge that this has been my badge of honor in terms of financial progress. And people will ask me, they'll be like, why do you got braces as an adult though? And I'm like, yo, I can finally afford it. And it's one of those things where I recognize that privilege, and to your point, when you get into tech, you see that privilege in your face. And having been a teacher prior to working in tech, shout out to Pinay Educational Partnerships, shout out to Galing Bata at Bessie Carmichael, shout out to Westway After School Program, shout out to the USF Teacher Education Program. Y'all raised me so hard. And I have to admit, I felt guilty going into the tech industry, feeling as if I had this piece of pie that no one else knew about. And I had this feeling of responsibility to be like, do I tell my people that there's this big ass pie and they can get it too if they just like knew somebody in the tech industry? It was weird. And I remember writing this article about being a walking contradiction. Ooh. And we gotta acknowledge that to some degree we are all part of a system, and we're never gonna be purists, we're never gonna be perfectly in our values, and we're gonna have to live with these contradictions in our life. And I think that's the beauty of being human, is knowing that there's this cognitive dissonance where maybe your behaviors don't align with your values, or the music you listen to don't align with what you imagine women to be, aka hip-hop. But I'm just saying, we're gonna live with these contradictions, but it's a matter of being intentional as much as you can in your own personal decisions. And I think having been in tech and having been at Pinterest for over 4.5 years, and that time in and of itself represents something. It represents that I have been at a company that has allowed me to grow. It has allowed me to thrive in a way that I have been able to give back to my community. Every single woman on this panel I have organized with. With Ruby, I co-produced a documentary. With Kristen, we used 10%, maybe like 2% of our time we spent organizing a filmmaker event for the Center for Asian American Media Film Festival last year. Organized it in 2 weeks, So Much Street Food hosted us for free. Ended up bringing in all of the other tech companies. Shout out to James from Salesforce for bringing in donations. Shout out to Faster for donating even more money so we can feed the people. And then we organized that in 2 weeks for the filmmakers. And then with Gina, with Soma Filipinas and Undiscovered, like we threw shit down, man. And like, I usually don't like to talk about this, but I have managed to also find ways and like pockets of spare change is what I like to call it at Pinterest that have funneled its way into the community. And so SOMCAN, Soma Community Action Network, they're one of the longest living programs in the Soma, the Filipino Heritage District, raising youth in this neighborhood. They have never seen a paycheck that big from a tech company, and I'm proud to say it came from Pinterest. But that wouldn't have happened if it weren't for someone like me, someone like Ruby, someone like Kristen, or Gina, or yourselves in the room, being at the table, knowing that those opportunities exist, and then bridging it with the neighborhood and bringing it with the people we know. So being a woman in color tech is very fucking loaded. But we are here together, and Pinayism, hashtag Pinayism.
Anyone else want to share? We don't have to do like everybody answers, but this challenge you face as a color. I mean, I'm super curious about you two actually. In the VC world, I feel like
Skipped my direct question already.
Oh, just kidding.
What does VC mean?
I'll bounce around.
What's a
VC is
VC?
venture capital. So
I think where do you start?
oh,
I'm trying to figure out how do you talk about it in a way that's productive, even though challenge is challenge. At first I just wanted a job, you don't care about identity at the time. You're you just need a paycheck, you just need to put food on the table, you can pay your student loans back. And then finally when you get to a position where you get to think about your identity in the workplace, that in itself is a position of privilege. So you're trying to reconcile that, and I struggled a lot with trying to fit in. I think that's always been my journey in life. My parents worked really fucking hard to be able to put us in cities and districts where we weren't the majority. So constantly I was who am I? There's no one I can relate to. And then even at Google, in the early days, I always found I was the odd person out, youngest on the team. I don't have kids. I can't afford kids. I don't know. You don't even think about the same traditional dreams that everybody else has, right? You don't think about weddings and all of that because you're how could I even afford to do that? So being again this question of what does it mean to be a woman of color in tech? I think it was only maybe 3 years ago that I started really thinking about it, and less just thinking about how can I excel in my career and make enough money to survive. And so the big breakthrough moment I had was less trying to think about how do I fit in and focus on the system that's rejecting me, and then started to think a little bit more about well, I'm fucking here. So I might as well do something with the space that I'm taking up and try to take up more space and do it in a way that feels authentic to me. Because if you're gonna just cut out anyways, why do it quietly? But that's been a really tough part, especially being a Filipino woman. I was raised to be deferential and not fighting malintent by my parents, but they wrestled with a lot of racism at work, and they just knew keep your head down, get the shit done. That's how you exceed. But we're in a position now where we get to influence structures, we get to influence systems. So if we're not taking advantage of that and just dipping out, then what are we doing for ourselves and our sisterhood and people to come? Because I've been in enough meetings where you see all these folks in power who are making these weird decisions because that's all they know, and also that's all they have emotional mental availability for. And at the end of the day, they get to take a break from shit and go to their cushy ass life. And then there's the next day. That's also how I think probably politics works, They're on a 9 to 5. They're guess we didn't come to a decision. We'll wait for tomorrow. So unless we're in those spaces and driving some of the conversation and trusting our gut and speaking up in those moments, we're not actually doing enough to push the thing forward. And that was something that I really wrestled with, and I'm now trying to embrace a bit more, especially now being in leadership roles. There is an immense responsibility, but you can know that you don't have to do a lot.
So, I mean, going off to this theme of we're talking about being the only ones in the room. I'm sure. Actually, raise your hand if you are currently working in a tech company. Okay, so hands down. Raise your hand if you are thinking about joining tech or looking for a job in tech. Alright.
We're recruiting
Connections. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, of the people, raise your hand if you are one of less than maybe the only Filipino in your company. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. So this is real, and so my next question is in the tech industry, especially if you're working in diversity, there are these words just being thrown around representation, diversity, and how do we fix this, and things like that. what do you guys think that is one thing that tech is either getting right or getting wrong in how they approach diversity in the workplace?
I got a strong opinion about this one.
Right or wrong, either.
So, well, like, I try to steer away from like the right or wrong conversation, just because like it's so fucking gray, and I think that's the piece that like tech and just companies in general are getting wrong about diversity. Like,
Could improve.
yeah, it's just like you're never gonna fix it. There's just too much shit in like what is fixed. So there's never gonna be like an end point to the diversity work in general. Like, we are trying to actually like talk a little bit more about diversity as practice. Like, it should be a constant thing that we're thinking about and influencing in the processes that we have, the people that show up, the way we talk about stuff, how it influences our products. So like, to just have programming and say like, well, the program's there, like check, and like this program's here, check, and like you're just literally checking off the boxes of shit that media puts out about like the latest like unconscious bias research and all this stuff. Like, the environments are constantly changing. Like, you have people come in and out, and just like new problems are cropping up. So if we're thinking about it as like a finite journey, like we're never gonna do well at it. It's like everybody's responsibility to like make sure that it's a core piece of like every experience that we do. Not just like even ethnic diversity, but like accessibility, like age, socioeconomic, all of it. It's really embracing this intersectionality as a concept through and through, from like the physical experience to the product experience. Yeah, that's strong. Like that.
Adding on to that, y'all know this. Anything hard or difficult is not going to happen immediately. And I think we're just starting to see how that wave is evolving, and that wave is pushing the conversation further. And with that conversation comes buzzwords. And implementation looks differently to many people. And we're going to have those conflicting ideas of how diversity works well. Even at Pinterest, we have conflicting ideas. But I think the important part of all of that, to Kristen's point, is that we're in the gray and we're trying. And I've been really fortunate to have done a lot as an individual at Pinterest. And I'm giving a quick shout out because we have folks here that are representing Filipinos, our employee community. And there's something about when you walk into a building and you see someone else that looks like you. There's something about seeing them and giving them a head nod to check, oh, are they Filipino? Like, for real, like, I'm seeing Cambodian, Thai, and I'm just like, Laotian? Yeah. I thought you were Filipino, my bad. But I want to call that out because literally when people say, I see you, that means so much. And it means I see your struggle. I see the family that you are trying to make proud. I see the paycheck that you were trying to earn, because this probably wasn't the first one you've had in a long time. And I know that that struggle is not going to be done alone. And I think that's why I'm so glad to see so many people here, because when Gina asked that question for you all to raise your hands if you're the only one at your company, like, I see you. I see you. And the important part about talking about diversity is when those folks are at your company, are they coming through to your gigs? Do you feel comfortable to invite your colleagues to go check out your bachata performance, or come to Barrio Fiesta, or come watch PCN? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel comfortable to do that? And I think it starts when we know that we have critical mass. And I don't know about y'all, but Filipinos know how to bring critical mass. There we go. We still have food, good music, brown people. And I just want to acknowledge that. So whatever diversity looks like at your company, don't take that for granted. I think it's an evolution. In tech, we like to talk about product and creating the most viable product, or the MVP. And if you're trying to build a rocket ship, you don't build the rocket ship first. You can start with a skateboard. And conceptually, that skateboard needs wheels and it needs a frame. And then maybe once you got that down, you're like, oh cool, I could build a skateboard without thinking. I'm gonna build a bike now. And once you got that bike going, you go from a bike to a motorcycle to a car. And lo and behold, you have that team behind you and you have the skill set and that proficiency to then say, all right, we got this. We're gonna build a fucking rocket ship. Maybe it's gonna be made out of duct tape, but we're gonna try to make it fly. And I think when it comes to these conversations, we should just constantly know that we're in it to try to make it better and not dog each other down, because that's not Pinayism. Bring it back.
Yeah. So for me, I've been fortunate. 2 of my supervisors actually in biotech so far have been both Pinays, which has been awesome.
They're doing it right.
Yeah. From a Fisher hit. But when I think about, I guess my career in biotech and music, I feel like they're kind of parallel that in the fact that they're both still very male-dominated spaces. And I think, although in biotech it's a little bit less disproportionate, I do see that, I'm aware that when we see like the higher position roles, it's all gonna be white men. You're not gonna see like faces that look like this. And I also want to add that I'm also very critical whenever I do hear buzzwords like diversity, representation brought up by organizations, companies, or even artists, or what have you. Because at the end of the day, I feel like it's important to realize and to be critical about the intent of these spaces. And are they just trying to fill a quota, or are they actually wanting to diversify their space to be able to amplify voices? Are they wanting to diversify to be able to, include the ideas of people of color? Are they looking to diversify to be able to put people of color in positions of power? So I think that those are very important. And then also, just for me too, I feel like we can't just talk about diversity without also thinking about inclusion. There's a very distinct difference between both, and I feel like for me inclusivity is more where we need to go in terms of either in the entrepreneurship that we work with or even in biotech.
Yeah, for me, I feel like one of the things that would always annoy me too, because I work really directly with the diversity group. At X, we called our diversity group, we called her the cultural alchemist, because her job was to do alchemy and get the shit. Because we're at X, they're all about diversity of thought. The idea is if you are doing something that's never been done before and trying to solve the world's biggest problems, you have to approach it from a way that's never been thought of before, and because all the other ways that have been thought of were by white men. So it's other people who are going to solve and innovate. But one of the things that I remember always talking about is unconscious bias. Unconscious bias is a new buzzword that's going around. And I think what's important as people of color in tech groups is, yes, buzzwords are important to get people, basically just like white fragility, get people to buy in to, yes, this is important, let's do this. But then at some point, we gotta just say what it is, racism. Right? Unconscious bias is racism. And if you are experiencing that, you might be racist. So it's important to call it out because you gotta know and recognize that so that you can move past it. So that's the only thing that I would hate is hearing these buzzwords that kind of dumb down what's really happening, and then it's important for us to call out the reality. Dope. So thinking about all these people who are in tech now and people who are thinking about getting into tech, I'd love to ask, what is something you wish you would have known going into this industry, or what's some advice you would have given to your younger self when you were just getting into tech?
I'll start. If someone told me that building my Neopets and Zynga and MySpace pages were going to be a 6-figure salary, I would still coding my fucking Zynga. Is that else not vote with me? I'm not playing fingers, Mom. She didn't know. So I was tweaking on the internet for hours on end, trying to code. So I wish I knew that. I also wish I knew what a 401k was. I wish I knew what investing was. So write this down. I wish I knew that I wouldn't see a lot of people like me, and that it's okay. It's okay. Because you will. Like today. I'll keep it short.
For me, if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would say to be more assertive. Time and time again, I hear these stories about being with the only woman in a conference room, and men talk over you and don't even acknowledge the opinions or ideas that you have. And I've even witnessed that, even in music. Like I could be like on a set for a video, and can we do this? But I'll say it in a way where it's more passive language than active language, and that's also something that I'm still currently trying to battle with and trying to own myself, where if I have an idea, I should be confident in it and not feel like I should get the approval from, especially if I'm working with men. And then also tell myself to trust my instincts. There's been so many times, whether in music or in biotech, where I felt like I didn't know, I wasn't really sure what I was doing and if I had the right answer. If I could just go back and tell myself that 99% of the time you're probably right and don't doubt yourself. Because I feel like there's been moments in the past where I did doubt myself, and if I followed through with that, I wouldn't have gotten that MasterCard commercial, or I wouldn't have made a B-Rock album, or I wouldn't even have accepted the job because I thought, oh, it's too far of a commute or whatever, what have you. So just believing myself more.
So can I have another one?
Yes.
I wish I had really Ibarra's album when I was in high school. Ibarra.
I roll my R's. I know a bunch of things I wish someone didn't tell me when I was young. Like that it would be hard, or that like you have to try so hard. I almost feel like all of those warnings kind of like seeded in my brain little just like self-editing I would do to make sure I wasn't like pissing anyone off or like causing too much trouble. Like I wish my parents told me to cause trouble in the workplace, especially as like a woman. But now like looking back, I think I would have done similar things of like trust your gut. Like, don't ask for permission. Stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do and just like do what you know is right. And I think like essentially you start doing that, but it's like start doing it sooner and start being okay with like you're not gonna be right about everything, and like the more comfortable you can get with like being wrong and fucking up, especially at work, the less scary it is, and like the smarter choices to make and learn from later. Because probably the majority of the time, I feel like it's interesting because you're probably right, but also like you're probably wrong, and like that's also okay. But the whole point is to contribute a voice so you can collaborate with people to like make something better.
Yeah, it's like similar to Ruby too about like, I came into Google being, one of the only Filipinos on like various teams, and there was definitely this pressure to like fit in and like, tell jokes about like that they thought was funny or like dress a certain way. And I wish that I had that confidence earlier on to just be like, no, this is what diversity is about, is I'm different. So I should come into this space as myself, which is different, because that's actually what they want. And even if they don't want it, they don't know that they want it. Because they just never seen it yet. Let's see it. And when I did, I like hit a peak at like in the self-driving car team where I was just like, yo, this is me. I'm this like last Pinay girl, and like, great, get over it. But like, imposter syndrome is real. Like people, like it's really your head. It's really your head. It's not real. But this morning I thought about this and I was like, oh, I want to definitely share this today. But this morning it just hit me, the concept of overcoming imposter syndrome is decolonization. All right, so I'm gonna repeat that again. Overcoming imposter syndrome is decolonization. Because the concept of imposter syndrome means you feel like you don't belong there. But the reason you don't belong there is because those spaces were designed for white people. So the minute that you can accept that and know that in overcoming that, you are decolonizing your shit, like that's power. So I really hope, because I hear so many Pinays in every workshop we do talk about imposter syndrome, and we just have to realize, yeah, it's real, but because it's systemic. So recognize that and push through that wall.
Can I just piggyback off that?
Yeah.
Because it's so much, again, I feel like we do a lot of stuff to protect ourselves, right? From like disappointment, failure, all of that shit. And I think that prevents us from really like excelling and like, again, taking up space and contributing. And so it's like, almost like, to your point, being like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. This wasn't built for me. I'm probably gonna say something that's wrong. But then like, ending that statement with like, so what? Yeah, but you're here, and again, like putting yourself in a position of power where you're like facing those fears and experiencing them, and then coming out of it, and then deciding like what's that pivot you're gonna make, so that it's like less scary each step you grow. Ooh.
Can I add on to what you added on?
Okay.
Yes, and conversation. Yes, and so a lot of these conversations actually never came up for me. I grew up really embarrassed of being Filipino. I don't know if you all felt this at some point in your life. Like, I think any child of an immigrant family has definitely gone through some identity crisis at some point in their lives. And I remember I finally had a turning point when I got to college. And I hate that it took that long for me to come to terms with why I'm proud to be Filipino. And shout out to PEP, shout out to ethnic studies, but we have to acknowledge that a lot of folks that go into these spaces for tech don't come from an ethnic studies background, don't have that unconscious bias training that decolonizes the conversation. And so it ends up making us tokenize, to your point, of being that resident expert of your identity. And that is emotional labor that we have to acknowledge that we carry with us. There's a really good article, I think it was on the Harvard Business Journal, about emotional labor. I could be wrong. Just look up emotional labor article on the internet.